Have you ever noticed how some small-town mayors act like they're starring in their own political soap opera? Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, was a living example of that fantasy. She turned township governance into a personal reality show, traveling with media crews, hosting grand events, and spending taxpayer money like she had won the lottery. This wasn't just about ego. It was about unchecked power. Henyard wasn't only the mayor. She also became the supervisor of Thornton Township, essentially holding two of the most powerful seats at once, with almost no real oversight. It was like being the principal and the superintendent at the same time, and still failing every budget test. At first, no one was watching. The press stayed quiet. The state looked the other way. And in that silence, Henyard moved boldly, flying across the country, rolling deep with an entourage, using public funds as if they were her personal credit card. The scariest part? It worked. For a long time, no one said anything, no one challenged her. Until the people, the ordinary, everyday residents, decided enough was enough. They pulled out their phones, they posted the videos, they shared the receipts. They showed the world just how far the corruption had spread. What started as small-town frustration exploded into national headlines because regular folks dared to hit record when no one else would. They refused to be silent. They refused to be intimidated. And as the light grew brighter, Henyard's empire crumbled. She lost everything: the mayorship, the township supervisor seat, and the image she had so carefully crafted. The kingdom she built on intimidation, arrogance, and unchecked spending collapsed under the weight of public truth and the unstoppable power of the internet. Because here's the truth: when no one is watching, corruption grows in the dark. It moves in silence. It steals from communities $1 at a time. But when ordinary people shine a light, when they refuse to stay silent, the mighty fall. Tiffany Henyard's story isn't just about one leader's downfall. It's a warning to every small town across America: stay awake, stay loud, because if you don't, the ones in power will keep living like kings while the people who trusted them are left to clean up the ruins. And speaking of receipts, the story doesn't end here. In towns like Dalton, mayors don't just hold office, they hold all the cards, literally. In big cities, power is spread out. You've got city councils, watchdog groups, and strong media keeping leaders in check. But in small towns, the mayor becomes everything: the sheriff, the judge, the executioner, and even the DJ at the town festival. If they don't like what you're saying at a council meeting, they can just cut off your mic. If you work with them and dare to speak up, you're out. If you run a business and question their spending, suddenly you're drowning in surprise code violations. It's a different kind of game. In small towns, the mayor doesn't just govern, they are the system. And that's the danger of the strong mayor style of government. One person holding unchecked executive power. They make the decisions, control the budget, hire and fire, staff and bulldoze the city council like it's just background noise. On paper, strong mayor systems are supposed to provide clear leadership. But in reality, when accountability vanishes, democracy dies. One person runs everything without any real oversight, and it starts to feel less like a town and more like a dictatorship with a neighborhood watch. Corruption doesn't become an accident. It becomes the rule. If the mayor is corrupt, the entire town twists itself to match their will. Leaders like Tiffany Henyard and Brandon King didn't just get keys to the city, they seized the whole kingdom without ever earning the people's trust. And once they had it, prying those keys out of their hands became almost impossible. Fear and favoritism took root. Speak up, you're out. Ask questions, your emails vanish. Push too hard, you get buried under bureaucratic nonsense. We saw it firsthand in East Cleveland, Ohio, where Mayor Brandon King allegedly ran the city like he was hiding something from the feds. Council members accused him of blocking access to critical financial documents, cutting off emails when they started asking tough questions, and burying the city under a $60 million deficit. The city's finances became so murky it was like trying to read tax documents through dirty water. Reports surfaced of city contracts allegedly going to friends and allies. Federal COVID relief funds meant to save the community were allegedly funneled into private security instead of fixing potholes or collecting trash. It wasn't governance. It was chaos dressed up in a mayor's sash. Eventually, the walls closed in. After months of ducking accountability, Brandon King faced a 12-count indictment: theft of office, conflict of interest, and using public money like it was his own private monopoly game. It got so bad that a 3-judge panel had to decide if he could even stay in office. They didn't waste time. They suspended him. Gone. Packed up like leftovers at a city meeting. Even after King was removed, East Cleveland was left bleeding. Financially, politically, and morally. The community is now trying to piece itself back together, but the scars of one man's ego trip run deep. And then there's Monique Owens, former mayor of East Point, Michigan. Another cautionary tale. She outright lied on a COVID relief application, claiming she had over 100 employees just to pocket $10,000. That wasn't just unethical, it was a federal offense. She pled no contest, got slapped with 100 hours of community service, and still tried to act like she did nothing wrong. But the paperwork didn't lie, and neither did the chaos that unfolded in her meetings, where dysfunction ruled and leadership was just an illusion. The painful truth is this: when power goes unchecked in small towns, it becomes a weapon. And when good people stay silent, one leader's ambition can destroy an entire community. This isn't just about Tiffany Henyard, Brandon King, or Monique Owens. It's about a system that lets them thrive until the people finally say, enough. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to stop this council meeting because I'm not going to let you speak on something that involves the police. And just like that, the mayor, acting more like a dictator than a public servant, interrupted, shutting down the voice of the people. Owens didn't just run meetings. She turned them into personal live streams where she held total control, silencing anyone who dared question her or ask the uncomfortable questions. Public forums? Not in her world. These were her personal platforms to assert dominance, to make her critics cower. It wasn't just the disruptions. She changed the rules mid-meeting. Speaking time was restricted at will. The agenda flipped without warning. And if someone got out of line, out came the walking out, abandoning the very people she was meant to serve. Every critique? A personal attack in her eyes. Question her, and you were met with disdain, with public humiliation. At one point, she even faced a lawsuit for violating the First Amendment. Yes, the very amendment that protects free speech, accused of blocking public comments and trying to silence the people she was supposed to represent. The result? Tens of thousands in taxpayer dollars spent on a legal battle and the creation of First Amendment Day as part of the settlement. It's a shame when elected officials behave like con artists with a city credit card, but it's not just small towns where this happens. No, it's a disease that spreads to larger cities too. Take Tashara Jones, former mayor of St. Louis, as an example. While her city was crumbling, potholes piling up, crime running rampant, she was stacking up frequent flyer miles. Between 2021 and 2024, she took a staggering 64 work-related trips. That's over 160 days away from the very city she was supposed to lead. Meanwhile, her residents were stuck with basic city services falling apart. Potholes? No. Trash collection? Barely. But Tashara? She was out collecting travel stamps like she was shopping for designer handbags on sale. She claimed her trips brought back resources to St. Louis. But when the infrastructure was breaking down and city services were in disarray, no one was buying that excuse. And as if that wasn't enough, her office even tried to increase her travel budget to $7,500 in 2022 because apparently even political jet-setters need a raise. But the residents of St. Louis weren't fooled. While she was collecting hotel points, they were living with a mayor who was never there, a title that meant nothing in practice. Her downfall wasn't just about travel expenses, it was about the message that her ego, her optics, were more important than serving the people. The same story, different city, same crash. In South Fulton, Georgia, Mayor Kobe was living a life of absurdity. He walked into someone's lakefront home uninvited, called it his dream house, and got held at gunpoint by the actual owner. When the cops showed up, he pulled the classic, "Do you know who I am?" And they sure did. They cuffed him. But the story gets crazier. While South Fulton was grappling with budget deficits, Mayor Kobe was in Ghana, living it up. 3 weeks. Over $26,000 in travel expenses. His excuse? Economic development. Meanwhile, his city was falling apart. When the city council finally had enough, they snatched his budget, took away his government car, and even dragged a pool table out of his office. It's a scene straight out of a comedy, except it's real. Meanwhile, Mayor Kobe was getting evicted, unable to even pay his own rent. His excuse? He was just like the average American. No, sir, the average American doesn't blow 5 figures on travel while dodging eviction notices. Eventually, the city had enough of the nonsense. They banned him from City Hall, changed the locks, cut off his access to city funds. He was a mayor only in title. His reign was over. His only victory was running out of time. These are not isolated incidents. From Dalton to East Point, St. Louis to South Fulton, this is a pattern. An infection of ego and incompetence spreading through local governments, leaving the people to suffer while those in power abuse their positions. And what makes it even more tragic? The silence of the people, fear, apathy, or simply a resignation to "this is how it is." When you live in a town where everyone knows everyone, calling out the mayor doesn't just make you political. It can cost you your job, your peace, your safety. Some residents stay loyal to the mayor, hoping for favors. Others avoid the drama, not realizing how deep the corruption runs until it's too late. The system stays broken because those who should hold these officials accountable either can't or won't. And when someone does try to speak up, they're threatened, sued, or silenced. But when the lights finally come on, when the news starts digging, when the court documents hit the internet, when someone finally says, "Wait a minute," that's when the truth unravels. And it's always messy. These mayors didn't lose because of one big scandal. They lost because people got tired of the lies, tired of the waste, tired of the circus they turned public service into. They lost because the people finally said enough. And the hustle doesn't end when a few get caught. These people are bold. They'll spin the story. They'll play the victim. They'll claim it's all a political attack or a conspiracy. And sadly, sometimes it works until it doesn't. But how do we stop the next Tiffany, Brandon, or Monique from turning their town into their personal empire? It starts with you. You have to pay attention. You have to ask the tough questions. We need to shine a light in places others won't go. Because we've learned one thing. These mayors aren't small time. They have big egos, big plans, and big crimes hiding behind small-town facades. And unless we speak up, they'll keep doing what they're doing, living large, running the hustle, and turning every town they touch into a personal playground. That's why local elections matter. That's the cheat code. If we don't show up, we're handing these people the keys. And they'll crash the city budget into the wall of scandal and waste. So get involved. Know who's running. Don't wait for the FBI or a journalist to expose the corruption. Real change happens when we take the power back at the ballot box. The dirty secrets are out there. Look where no one's watching. Small town. Mayors might be committing big city crimes, but it's time to make sure they don't get away with it anymore.